The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 3 of MMA to the Max. I am your very hungover host, Robert Taylor, and I'm joined, once again, with your co-host, Joseph Hudson. What's up, Joe?
Not much. I am not hungover, and I feel wonderful on this great Sunday. So, what happened to you last night? Why are you hungover, buddy?
Well, have a couple beers, tasted a couple glasses of wine at the behest of the fiance, and some more beers, sitting around outside in the nice summer night weather, drinking more beers with my friends, and one thing led to another, and I'm at that point where I'm just going to be saying, I'm done drinking until, this weekend, obviously.
Yeah, until Friday or Saturday, and it's time to drink up again.
Yeah, till the next fight, the big fight coming up.
Big fight.
Yeah, but before we get to that big fight coming up on Saturday, we had a fight last night on Saturday as well with Chris Weidman and Kelvin Gastelum, and the entire card was just amazing.
Yeah, I liked the card too. I was surprised because, again, it was a lot of local guys, not a ton of big names, but everybody showed up last night and fought really well.
Yeah, there's a couple of surprise winners in my mind, but for the most part, things just kind of just went as scripted, as they say, but damn, man.
Not as scripted for me. I got 4 fights right. Out of the whole freaking card, dude. Look, I like I said last week, I thought Gastelum was gonna pick Weidman apart, use his boxing, use his footwork, and he did a little bit there in the end of the first round. He clipped Weidman and dropped him for a second, but Weidman looked great. He used his size and his strength, and dude, I was so happy for Weidman. He needed that win so bad.
Yeah, I mean, a couple more seconds, probably, I don't know, more than a couple, like 10 to 15 more seconds of that first round, and probably would have had a different result. I mean, Weidman looked pretty good in the second and third rounds, even the beginning of the first round. But I do think it's very problematic and troubling that he once again almost got stopped and was dropped by Kelvin.
By a welterweight. Let's be honest here. Kelvin definitely can make welterweight with a little bit more discipline, which he says he's going to do anyways. He says he's going to go to the UFC training center and try to work with a nutritionist there and get back to 170.
I'm all for it. I mean, he's better built for the 170 division, especially size-wise, height and everything. I mean, size is not everything, but as we learned last night, it is something.
Size is not everything. That's what I tell my wife. I gotta bring it back there, don't I? And I'm not even drinking today. But no, but it is. When you got someone like Weidman who truly could fight and be competitive at 205, going against someone like Gastelum who truly belongs at 170, it showed last night. But Weidman getting clipped and dropped early, it does say something, and he did seem like he was starting to gas out a little bit, but he finished strong, man. That was a really good head and arm triangle on his part. Really, really well.
Yeah, that's something I was going to bring up too, as well, was the fact that he was fighting with his mouth wide open before the finish and everything. He looked like he was getting gassed again, and I think that has to do with the weight cut. I don't think the IV ban is something that benefits Chris Weidman, and I think he might be best served to move up to 205, regardless of what happened in this fight.
Yeah, he might be, and a lot of guys find that their chin actually picks up some strength, minus what Masvidal did to Cerrone. Cerrone's able to take a better punch. He's able to keep his speed up longer into the fight because he's not draining himself to get to 155, The move up to a more natural fighting weight class worked for Masvidal too, let's be honest, and as well as Cerrone, and I think that Weidman would benefit from that big time. But he comes from that wrestling background where they're used to cutting mad amounts of weight and using size, to overpower smaller guys. It's that mentality I think he's going to have trouble breaking.
I just have trouble seeing him breaking through to the top of the division to another title shot. I mean, sure, he's still going to be ranked number 5, but I think everybody ranked above him beats him again. Yoel Romero and Luke Rockhold especially. I think they destroy him just like they did the first time.
You think everybody ranked ahead of him? Let's look at the rankings, because I know how you feel about some people in the top 5.
Judging from yesterday, from the fight, I honestly, I probably would pick Bisping over Weidman.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't. I love Weidman, but I wouldn't. I think if he fought like he did last night, well, you know what? Bisping's takedown defense has gotten so much better. It's pretty solid.
Spectacular. It's spectacular takedown defense, and he lights Weidman up on the feet standing.
I think he does what I expected Gastelum to do.
Yeah, I think he picks Weidman apart, especially, and he's going to have the better gas tank regardless.
And he'll have the reach that Gastelum didn't have.
Yeah, he'll be the same size. He'll actually be a middleweight.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like we're making excuses for why Gastelum lost. I mean, let's be clear here. That's not really the reason why Gastelum lost. He didn't open up as soon as he should have, but it's one of the reasons. And
yeah,
took advantage of it.
Yeah, it's all part of the game. It's like if it's football and one of your your corners or free safeties is hurt, and then they only beat us because they kept going deep on our second string guy. Well, it's part of the game. You know what I mean? Part of the game in MMA is size, and you fight bigger guys and they can beat you. I mean, that's what MMA started from, right? Bigger guys getting beat up by smaller guys. So yeah, it's not an excuse, but it's part of the game for sure.
Yeah, well, in this day and age, that's why they have weight classes, as they put it.
Yeah,
so that things like this don't happen. I mean, Kelvin's a beast. Weidman is a beast in his own right, but the size difference was just way too much for Kelvin.
Yeah, I think so. Calvin needs to go to 170. I hope they let him go back. He's shown he can fight at 185, and hopefully he can go back to 170, start making weight, because I think he stands a chance of being a champion at 170. I think a little bit more time, he can get there, man. He's good.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets his weight under control, he'll be a contender at 170 easily.
For sure. But speaking of good, I mean, we're gonna just kind of maybe jump around this card a little bit. But thinking of good, how about that good Dos Santos decision? How'd you feel that one went?
I mean, I scored it for Lyman Good. I'm not going to argue the decision. It was a close fight. I 100% completely disagree with two judges giving it 30-27 to Dos Santos. There's no way he won all 3 rounds. I mean, I believe the second round easily was Lyman Good.
Easily. That was like the easiest round to score. The other 2 rounds were difficult. Okay, I get it. Dos Santos, I don't think that he won, but that's fine. Rounds 1 and 3. I could see it going either way. But the second round, 30-27? If it was any 30-27, it would have been good, because he clearly won that second round. He looked great in that second round. And I was hoping, but again, we were talking gas tank, he didn't have one in the third, and that's what cost him. But still, overall, it was a 30-27. Dude, that was a bad call.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and complain about the actual decision as a whole, but just the scoring is ridiculous. I just can't see how 2 of the judges gave him all 3 rounds. The second round, there's just no way. I think judges need to start being held accountable and taking classes and being punished for ridiculous scores like that. You want to score at 29-28 for Dos Santos, that's fine, but giving him all 3 rounds is just wrong.
Yeah, there should be some kind of like couple paragraph synopsis. Okay, I believe that he won this round because. So there's some kind of defense to it. Maybe they don't have to stand up and be judged, but at least, on their scorecard be like, Dos Santos was more active and pushed forward or whatever. Be like, okay, you might have saw that, but he must have been, with his back to you every time he took that nasty jab and that 1-2 combination that was being thrown all over the place. I don't know.
And it's crazy that they managed to, 2 of those judges managed to score that way for this fight, but in the co-main event and the fight right underneath it, I'm talking about Darren Elkins and Dennis Bermudez, and then Patrick Cummins and John Vellante, both split decisions, but
yep.
None of the scores weren't out of the realm of possibility. Either fight could have gone either way.
Yeah, I sided with the judges on both of those. Again, against my picks, I wanted Vellante to win and I wanted Bermudez to win, but I thought the judges got that right. I think a split decision, maybe not, but... Yeah,
I mean, I consumed a copious amount of alcohol last night, so at that point, a lot of bias might have come into play. I did think that Patrick Cummins won that fight. He definitely lost the first round, but he took the next two. He
Yeah,
was
I
pressuring
agree.
him, and Vellante wasn't doing anything. I thought Bermudez won the fight, but I had no problems with the scorecards. It could have gone either
Yeah.
way. Elkins did have back control a lot of multiple times in the fight, so I could see the judges giving it to him. And it's under the new scoring system. They didn't really do anything to stand out each round, so I'm not complaining. Both were actually really good fights. So
Yeah, both were. And what surprised me is how Cummings looked on his feet. He looked like if you didn't know anything about the fight and you walked into round two, and someone told you, "Oh, it was wrestler versus striker," you'd have been like, "Okay, Cummings, he's the striker."
well, if you would have looked at Cummins after the fight and told me he won,
His eye was pretty much shut, but he looked good. Look, he's never going to be a specimen of technique, but he looked confident on his feet, and he was throwing combinations. They weren't always pretty, but he looked like he was the more confident striker, and that surprised the hell out of me because Vellante is a good striker, good boxer. He's got good hands. But last night he left him. He left him at home, I guess, because he's fighting at home. He didn't pack him up, was in a hurry, forgot about him. But his hands were not there last night.
yeah, he also gassed out. His Vellante's gas tank is just it's shit. It's shit. And when you have somebody who does have a gas tank like Cummins and who just keeps coming forward, that just doesn't bode well for you as a fighter. And that's why he lost again.
Yeah. His fight against Shogun, if he'd have fought with that kind of technique and pressure, because he looked good against Shogun. Shogun knocked him out fairly, but he looked good for the first two rounds against Shogun. You know.
Well, let's not put too much stock into that. I mean, this is Shogun of 2017, 2016 that we're talking about now. No offense, but this is not the Shogun that we all watched tear through Pride.
No, but you'd expect if his hands were going to look good, they'd look good against a wrestler, not against a guy who is a legit striker like Shogun, you know. So maybe I don't know what he did. He just expected to wrestle the whole time, and then once Cummings realized that he could land, he was piecing him up. I'm not a big fan of Cummings, don't like him, dislike him, but I was surprised, man. He looked great. I'd love to see the improvement out of him.
Yeah, Patrick Cummins is and Vellante as well. In my mind, I don't think either guy should be in the UFC right now. Patrick Cummins, he was brought in way too soon in his career just because of the to fight Cormier on
DC
short
feud.
notice.
Yeah.
After I believe it was Rashad Evans, he was scheduled to fight, and then Rashad pulled out. He was brought in just because they had something they can build for Cormier and get him his first win at 205. But I don't know, man. The man is just he wasn't ready. He's basically progressing his career in the UFC, and not too many people work out that way.
Yeah, he's not that young to expect to have all that much improvement either. You know what I mean? So like, where's he really going to go? Where is it going to be when all's said and done? He's how old is Patrick Cummings?
He's got to be like 35, I believe. 34, 35 years old. That's old for MMA years. So
yeah, because he had a college beef with Cormier. Okay, yeah, he's 36.
36.
So
okay.
So yeah, he has to be Cormier's age, and Cormier's, you know, who am I talking, right? But he's no spring chicken, not in this sport at least.
Especially if they're starting out so late. Yeah, not everybody can be a Daniel Cormier or Randy Couture that start their career in their 30s and manage to. Yeah.
Well, that's where you get those super upper level athletes that just, you know, are the creme de la creme, the best of the best. You know, super athletes.
Speaking of super athlete, I want to use that as a nice segue to talking about this fight. This guy making his debut, super athlete, former University of Alabama linebacker Eric Anders makes his debut and knocks out Hafe on the towel in the first round.
Roll Tide! Little shout out to one of our big fans, Jason Stone, right there from Alabama. Yeah, we were talking about this a little bit last night after the fights, and I think fighters like Anders are going to be the next evolution of the sport. You got a guy who is a legitimate world-class athlete, plays for Alabama, wins a national championship, obviously knows what he's doing at linebacker, good size, good speed, quickness, agility, all that for a linebacker. His professional career didn't really work out, but he had trained jiu-jitsu for a while, and he kind of trained a little bit of stand-up during college. and goes, okay, well, I'm an athlete. I got a little bit of training under me. Let me focus on this fighting thing. And man, has it paid off for him. I cannot wait to see where he is in another 2 years with his athletic ability and his hard work and dedication that he's put into this. He's growing by leaps and bounds every fight. I'm just like getting chills thinking about what he's going to do next.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Alabama just breeds champions. So, I mean,
yeah, they do.
I mean, yeah, I know you're a USC guy, so it hurts to get stuff like that. But you know, it's just the truth. And he obliterated Rafael Natal, obliterated him. Those punches near the finish that led to the finish, they were just on point and nasty.
That hurt me, man. I thought Natal was going to be able to use his experience and weather a couple of, wicked punches being thrown from his back pocket, take him down and submit him, because Natal's got, good ground game. But no, Anders wasn't having it, dude. He's the new breed, man. I'm so excited to watch where he goes next.
I think personally next for him, you might as well just throw him in and put him up against somebody like a Uriah Hall, somebody who he can strike with, and if need be, he could probably just show off any type of ground game he has and look impressive, because I think Uriah Hall is a good fight for Eric Anders.
I was trying to think who I'd want to pair him up with, and Uriah Hall is not a bad choice. Who else do we have up in the top 20 right now? Who else is up in there? Trying to think.
Could always give him Johnny Hendricks.
Yeah, Hendricks can't even make 185. Are we talking for 205ers or what? Oh man, I feel bad saying that, dude. But Sam Alvey, maybe that could be fun. I don't know where Sam's ranked.
That could be a fun fight.
Bocek, maybe. I'm just trying to think of some guys up there. Yeah, I think Sam Alvey would be, because Sam Alvey will definitely try to make it a slugfest, and he could drop him too. Alvey's got some good hands.
Alvey or Hall works for me, either one. But
yeah, I'm just afraid Hall's going to run away from him. You know what I mean? He's going to be on his backpedaling the whole time.
Well, this would be one of the type of fighters that Hall, I think, would come after him and go forward on, because he's not a well-known fighter, so I don't think Hall will have that mental midget aspect in his head where he's just going to cave under the pressure. So,
yeah, let's put him up with Rockhold.
Rockhold's booked, and oh my god, I feel so bad for David Branch. I like David Branch a lot, but Rockhold is going to murder him.
What kind of Rockhold do you think we're going to see, man? It's been over a year.
We're going to see a determined Rockhold, man. You know the Rockhold that went on that tear after the Vitor knockout? We're going to see that Rockhold. Rockhold is going to be on a mission.
I hope so. I really hope so, because I miss that Rockhold, man. He's cocky, that's fine, that's who he is, but he was stupid, and he got clipped being too cocky by our boy Bisping. And again, I don't think it was a fluke. I think if you see your opponent's weakness and you attack it, he even said in the post-fight interview, he's like, I know this left is going to land. He drops his right hand when he backs away. But, yeah, if Rockhold can keep that right hand up, yeah, it should be a fun fight. But I think Rockhold's going to walk all over him.
Well, let's talk about another big knockout that just happened right before the Anders fight. This is the biggest miss that I had on the card. I was 100% for sure that Ryan LaFleur was going to dominate Alex Oliveira on the ground. And in the first round, he did. It was pretty dominant, so I said 10-8 on that round. Oliveira didn't do anything. But second round, man, LaFleur pulls an Aldo, comes straight at Oliveira with his chin up, hands down, and Oliveira cracks him on a counter, just face plants, knocked right out.
Yeah, I picked LaFleur simply because personal reasons. Oliveira and we don't like each other. No, I just don't like how he handled the whole missing weight by like 8 pounds and then talking crap to Will Brooks after he won the fight fairly, and then talking crap like it's like, well, you're not even a professional. You can't even make weight, and you're gonna stand over him like you're this badass. Make freaking weight, And so that just put a nasty taste in my mouth. I know he somewhat apologized and was contrite afterwards, but that's just still rubbed me the wrong way. So I was just picking LaFleur out of that reason. But Oliveira's good. 170, he does look really, really good. Yeah, perennial contender, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he looks good, but I just like you, I hate the guy. I won't ever root for him. He's just one of those. He's like we were talking about last week with homeboy, God, Khalil Roundtree.
Oh, Roundtree, yeah.
I need more coffee. That's what I need right now. But yeah, man, it's just poor sportsmanship, and I do not like Alex Oliveira, regardless of his skills, which are there obviously. But yeah, the Will Brooks thing, man, you miss weight by that much, and then you just celebrate and talk shit after the win. It's like, come on, dude, give me a break.
He should have said, "Thank you, Will Brooks, for taking this fight that I was unprofessional in making weight for." It was a good fight. Obviously, I was much bigger than you, and I used it. And yeah, he beat him up properly. It wasn't like anything illegal other than being overweight. But yeah, I didn't like it, man. And I used to like Cowboy Oliveira, and now he just left a bad taste in my mouth, and I ain't going back.
Yeah,
he's dead to me, man. You're dead to me.
Great knockout. I hope he loses his next fight. I hope he loses his next fight after that, and after that. I have no interest in watching this man fight, regardless of how good he might be. But a guy that I am interested in watching fight, and I am so down with the man he called out with, after the victory, Jimmy Rivera, beating Thomas Almeida by decision. I had him winning all 3 rounds, especially the first one at a 10-8, because he did drop him twice. Clean, and it goes back to what I was saying before about Thomas Almeida just not having good striking defense. His head movement's not there. His defense is just way too wide open, and Rivera took advantage, made him pay for it, and comes out with the just decision. Looked amazing.
He was using the same combination that Garbrandt used when he knocked Almeida out. That was that check right with the straight left, if memory is serving me correct. I didn't have as many bruises as you did last night, but it's been a long day swimming at the pool with the kids and everything, so I'm a little tired. Not like you. But yeah, I think it was that same combination. And yeah, Almeida I think Garbrandt exposed him. He's a great fighter, really talented, athletic. He's just got to figure something out on how to not get tagged when he's moving in. Come off the center line or something. Move his head, like you're saying. Move your head off the center line when you come in. Keep your hand up, whatever. But yeah, Rivera looked awesome.
Yeah, he looked great, and I agree with Almeida. I think he needs to take a step back out of the top 10, not in terms of his ranking, but maybe somebody like fighting somebody not in the top 10, so that he can continue to work on it. Because I believe everybody in the top 10 is going to exploit his striking defense deficiencies, and it's not going to bode well for the guy. I mean, he's got a bright future still. He's like 22-2.
Yeah, so he definitely does.
He's still got room to grow. He's still young. He'll get better. But yeah, I think Garbrandt exposed that lack of defense. Rivera took advantage of it. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the same knockout power, one-punch knockout power that Cody Garbrandt has. But
who at bantamweight does?
Yeah,
exactly. Lineker, maybe.
yeah, probably just Lineker. But Rivera's striking looked amazing. His clinch work looked great, and his call-out of Dominic Cruz is
brilliant.
Brilliant. Perfect. I loved what he said. If he wants to stop, if he ever wants to stop playing commentator and get back in the cage, I'll be here to welcome him. Great call-out. I'm down for that fight. Let's make it happen.
That's a great fight for both guys. I really think that Dominic might be looking at that like a no-win for him, but I think that there's still a win for him too, because to beat a guy like Rivera shows that, hey, I'm still here and I got it. And if Rivera wins, Rivera moves right up that food chain, sitting right behind TJ Dillashaw. That would also be another great fight. If TJ doesn't want to wait to November, I think TJ and Rivera would be fun.
Rivera did mention that for an interim title while waiting on Cody.
Yeah.
I don't think Cody's going to be out that long, and I'm not down with more interim titles. So,
why not, dude? Speaking of interims there in middleweight, man, did I not call that perfectly back in episode 1? I'm telling you, I know these things. They call me Mystic MMA to the max.
Yeah, the GSP and Bisping thing looks like it's going to be on, and we'll get to that soon. But yeah, man, I'm cool. I like Rivera versus Cruz because, I mean, the top 4 right now in the weight class: Cody is the champion, Dominic Cruz, TJ Dillashaw, and now Jimmy Rivera. There's nobody else like that's above Rivera in my mind besides the champion and then TJ and Cruz. So
Dodson should be up there somewhere.
Well, if he got the decision over Lineker like he should have.
Well, he won that fight. He won that fight. hands down.
Yeah, that was another one of those Garcia Nam fan fights where the judges just gave it to Lineker because he was pressing forward the whole time.
Yeah, except for he got pieced apart and taken down, and yeah, well, whatever. We can talk about bad decisions all day long.
Yeah, we can, but
like your decision to drink too much wine last night.
Oh yeah, and I'm paying for it. I've been in bed all day until you got home and it was time to record.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I like Rivera and Cruz. Let's get that booked probably on the same card as Garbrandt and Dillashaw, just in case.
It's supposed to come down in November. That's when Garbrandt's supposed to be. That's when he's supposed to return to fight or return to full contact training. I believe it's return to fight.
I think that's what they're talking about for the fight, and I think that's the next Madison Square Garden card.
Yeah, that'll be good. I mean, I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm taking my boy D. All right, this is a little side note, just so we know, right? We all watch Tough, right? I'm sure we're all part of the 2 million people that watch Tough. I got a bad taste in my mouth for the Team Alpha Male guys after that season. Like, normally, when I see a Team Alpha Male guy, I'm like, oh, there's Justin Buchholz, there's Holsworth, hey, Danny Castillo. I liked those guys when they were fighters. Obviously, I didn't know Buchholz as a fighter, but it's like, I like it. I'm happy to see him. I just was like, fuck those guys when I saw them, coming out with Elkins. Did Tough change your opinion at all, like, on those guys, or did it not matter to you, or what?
I actually have never really been a big fan of the Alpha Male guys, even before the Ultimate Fighter. I hated. I mean, I loved Uriah Hall in WCE, but I hated how entitled he always said. Or yeah, sorry, I was talking about Hall earlier. Faber, I loved him in WC, but I hated how entitled he started coming off when he got to the UFC. Cody was cool. He was like one of the bright spots, and then he just came off as like one of those tap out wearing "I'll fight you anytime you want" on the street type bro douchebags that used to populate the UFC fandom for years during the Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell days. So, I have issues with those types of fans. Those are basically the "Let's Bang Bro" fans. So
just let me bang, bro.
Yeah, which kind of reaffirmed my hatred for him when he picked that dude to be on his team. So, yeah, I was always on Dillashaw's side on this because of the fact that, you know what, who cares? He's trying to do what's best for him and his career. Who cares? You guys are crying because he left the gym. He left your team. Boo freaking who. Get over it, man. Calling him a snake because he's doing what he wants to do to better his career. Fuck off.
Yeah, he's like, I believe this is best for my career. As my friends and brothers, I know you would understand that. What you don't, but I thought we were friends and brothers. Look, I don't hate you guys. Look, I'll even come here still. I'll coach classes, but I'll be doing my camps over there. I still want to help. But go F myself now, but we're brothers. Oh, we're not? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, from the get-go, I was on his side of the whole back and forth drama. Even when Uriah went on MMA Hour and told his side of the story, it was the exact same thing that TJ said. And now they kind of try to change the narrative a little bit. But, I mean, that's their beef, whatever. But, yeah, it definitely has taken me out of the Team Alpha Male camp. I'm not hating on any of the other fighters and stuff, but I noticed it, that my own gut reaction when I saw Buchholz and Holsworth and Castillo. I was like, jerks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate all the fighters. It's just the core ones. Like the Faber, the Buchholz, what's his name, Danny Martinez, and I mean, I love Cynthia Calvillo, so she's alpha male.
Of course.
I mean, I'm rooting for her all the way. So it's
didn't
just
you
the
hear
core
the way
ones.
Luke Thomas was telling you the proper way to pronounce it? Calvillo. Yeah, you had a whole tirade this week on why it's not Cavello.
You know what? Until Bruce Buffer starts pronouncing it that way, I'm going to pronounce it the same way. Okay?
Yeah, it's
so
Cavello.
Luke Thomas, sorry, buddy. I have respect for that guy, though.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to spend all day reviewing this card. I mean, everybody watched it who's going to listen to this podcast, so they know exactly what happened. I do want to point out just a couple fights, not really talk about them too much, but Jeremy Kennedy staying undefeated at featherweight looked great. His wrestling is fantastic, and his gas tank is great.
I was really happy to see him perform that way. I thought he did a good fight, man. Yeah, well done, Kennedy.
And then Chico Rivera, man, Marlon Vera tapping out Brian Kelleher with an armbar. He had it locked up as a Kimura, and then when Kelleher jumped over, he transitioned to the armbar, and it was a thing of beauty for a guy that's mostly known as a striker. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was really, really, really pretty. I was happy to see. I love seeing good transitions in ground games. Just one more note that I'd like to bring up is I thought that Sherman looked really good as well. His gas tank last night. I expected him to get the TKO, but his striking has gotten a lot better. He's got a lot more patient. I like to see where that kid goes, man. Sherman, I think, is going to be. He's a small heavyweight. I don't know if he wants to stay fighting there or cut to 205, but. He looked good, man. I like that fight.
Yeah, Chase Sherman, though, my problem with his is he's the heavyweight version of Justin Gaethje, but without the skill, I guess.
Yeah.
And the recovery, because he's good. He's just not as good, but he just wades forward with no defense and he took way too many shots from a grappler like Grabowski that should have had no business tagging him like that standing.
Yeah, but if you look at his evolution, he's getting a little bit better at his distance and range. Again, he's a guy coming from Division II football. So he's, I just like to see where he goes. I agree with you completely. I would love to argue with you. It's one of my favorite things to do. But I just think there's a future in the vanilla gorilla. Or is it gorilla, vanilla gorilla? I don't know.
Well, if the fighting thing doesn't work out, he definitely has a future in memes. Judging by his Twitter, the guy's just constantly just posting memes. Let's just get off this show. Before we do, let's talk about the fact that it's the lowest rated Fox show in history, according to the overnight ratings, which to me kind of comes back to the fact that as much as people want to try to use him as saying this, Conor McGregor is not helping the sport or its ratings. Nobody is benefiting from Conor's drawing power, which is not very good.
Well, did you see this is on Fox, and I watch Fox regular TV shows. I didn't see any advertising for this. Did you see any promo? Did you see any push?
That's a byproduct of it, man. They're still too busy talking about Floyd and Conor. That's all they're talking about still. They're barely advertising any of these other shows. This was unfortunately a victim of it. Like the Sunday show. That's the UFC. Yeah, that's the UFC's fault. Like, okay, they're supposed to have nothing to do with Maymac. Then get out there and promote Captain America Jr. over here. Chris Weidman. Like, how do you not promote this fight? It's a great fight, but they just didn't care. They're just looking at it like, oh, it's a local fight. It's like a local scene thing. It's some local promotion. Like, no, you're on Big Fox, man. Push that. I was super disappointed in their push for promotion on that this week. Yeah, and if the ratings keep going like this, it's not going to bode well for when the Fox contract comes up and they have to renegotiate deal. Fox isn't going to want to pay as much anymore if the ratings aren't what they were. just last year, in July, Fox was headlined by Holly Holm versus Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah.
So, and it did way better. I believe that was actually the most successful Fox show, at least summer-wise, or just UFC in general, I believe summer-wise, in the summertime that they've ever done in terms of ratings. So
yeah, we stopped moving me into my new house so we could watch that fight.
That was 1 year ago today, by the way.
Yeah.
So that fight happened 1 year ago today. Yep, and we watched the fight. So 1 year ago today, Valentina Shevchenko cemented her place as one of the best bantamweights in the world by absolutely dismantling Holly Holm.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait to watch her again. I'm so excited for that fight. Shevchenko was a beast.
Well, then let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about the announced pay-per-view. I believe it's UFC 215, headlined by the GOAT, Mighty Mouse Demetrius Johnson, defending against Ray Borg as he wanted to, as the UFC originally wanted him to, before the DJ Dillashaw nonsense happened. They're getting top billing over Amanda Nunes, Valentina Shevchenko too. I think that's because they're worried about another pullout. But I also think they're trying to set up Mighty Mouse as the fall guy if this show doesn't sell.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. You're not a draw, all this stuff. But look, man, you got to headline a card, but let's see what kind of push they give him. Let's see if there's advertisements on Big Fox, on, Fox Sports. Let's see if they actually push this fight. The greatest fighter of all time. This is a big deal. Are they going to promote it right? He's going to break the record for the most consecutive title defenses, and he is barely even arguably, he's the best pound-for-pound fighter ever.
I mean, an argument could be made for John Jones, and I would accept that argument. I personally think it's Mighty Mouse just in terms of skill. But an argument could definitely be made for John Jones.
If Johns was more active,
if he wasn't such a fuck up,
his own personal life screwing him up, I would probably say hands down, because he would be doing what Mighty Mouse is doing, but he'd be doing it at 205, which is phenomenal. It's harder, I think, at that weight class because it's more stacked than 125, but nonetheless, Mighty Mouse is fighting the best 125ers in the world. You can't fault him for that.
Yeah, and a lot of people out there try to say that, oh, well, Flyweight's just not that good. He's just a big fish in a small pond. It's like, no, he's just that much better. That's the thing.
Yep.
He only lost once at bantamweight in the UFC, and that was to Dominic Cruz, and Dominic Cruz was in his prime and destroying everybody before the big knee injury. So he moved down to his natural weight class. You can't fault him. If I remember correctly, and I'm sure you even remember this, the same thing was said about Anderson Silva during his reign at middleweight. And that he had no competition. He had to fight everybody. I mean, the whole narrative was he had to fight at 205 because he had no competition. Yeah. So, and I'm sorry, Damian Maia at that time was not a challenge. He was also coming off of one win after getting knocked the fuck out by Nate Marquardt when he challenged Anderson Silva, and Anderson Silva didn't take him lightly. Talis Latis, really?
That was a good fight.
Yeah. Oh my God, that fight. But. Yeah, so that's the argument people give about Mighty Mouse, but the same thing was said about Anderson Silva. But now Anderson Silva is, he's loved now. He has never been more loved than since he lost the title. Once he lost the title, he became loved. That's when he became a draw. He wasn't a draw when he was dominant. That's what people don't remember. They like to romanticize the past, but that's the truth. He was not a draw until he lost the title.
Dominant champions like that, save Ronda Rousey, aren't big draws because people aren't excited to see it. Unfortunately, it's different than dominant fighter in boxing like Mike Tyson. People were paying through the nose to watch him knock guys out in the first round. But in MMA, it seems a little bit different. You know what I mean? It's more entertainment based, kind of like WWE. They're going to want to see that story. That's one of the reasons why I think Jones Cormier is going to sell so big, is because that's got a great storyline.
let's not forget that it's a stacked card. So
the first three fights, four fights. Okay, the first three fights could be pay-per-view main events. The fourth fight, the fifth fight, those could be fight night main events easily. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Manawa Ozdemir. Okay, definitely I'd watch that on a fight night. Lawler Cerrone, that could possibly be a pay-per-view, but let's just call it a fight night. Cyborg Evinger. Woodley, Maia, Cormier, Jones, come on. What are you guys doing to me?
The whole card is completely stacked from top to bottom. Even on the preliminary on FXX, which I think is shitty that you put on FXX instead of FX. I don't know what they have going on that FXX day. Yeah, a lot of people might not, but I mean, you got Ricardo Lamas and Jason Knight. Jason Knight is a future champion, man. That guy he's the redneck Diaz brother, that's what they call him, man. He's a beast.
Yeah, I got him picked via decision. I might take that to a TKO. I love Lamas, but I don't think he's going to beat Knight. Knight has just been looking so good.
Yeah, that Chad Skelly fight, he looked amazing. Finishing a very tough Skelly, so.
That surprised me. I had Skelly, I believe, in that fight too. But yeah, Knight looked fantastic.
Yeah, and then what do you got? Aljamain Sterling, Henan Barao. Barao making
right
it back to 135.
What do you think, man? You think the Funk Master gets funky with it, or you think Barao's going to back to his old ways?
I don't think Barao's old ways are ever coming back. I think TJ Dillashaw shot that man's career down.
He broke him.
Yeah, he completely broke him. I think Sterling's going to have his way with him. It's not going to be an exciting fight, though. It's going to be an Aljamain Sterling fight, and I like Sterling, but let's be honest here. It's going to be a grinding, slow affair that's going to end in an Aljamain Sterling decision. I wouldn't even be surprised if it gets a split decision type scoring. So,
you think he's just going to dry hump him for 3 rounds?
I think his striking's not really that good. We saw it in the Rafael Sunchal fight. It's just not great. He throws a lot, but he doesn't land. I mean, he just keeps people at bay, but it's just his striking's not good enough even to set up his takedowns for the most part. So,
yeah. Burrell's way better on the feet. Like, he's got a decisive advantage there. I think Sterling's wrestling is the advantage, but Burrell's jiu-jitsu's underrated because he never used it. He's always kickboxing. But Sterling's jiu-jitsu, I think, is great too. I'd love to see that as a jiu-jitsu match, taking him down, transitioning,
it'd
scrambling. But yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, and then you got Brian Ortega against Renato Moicano, who's coming off of a huge win against Jeremy Stevens that a lot of people were upset with. I thought was a completely just decision.
Oh yeah, I agree too.
Yeah, Moicano undefeated, 11-0 and 0, and one draw. Or no contest. I don't remember. Like I said, I'm just doing this off of my head. And then the main card, though, like you were talking about, Manawa versus Ozdemir. Ozdemir is somebody who came out of nowhere. He got that decision against OSP. Slightly controversial. I was okay with it. It was close. OSP is just, that's what OSP does.
Yeah.
And then the biggest upset in my mind of the year so far, him knocking out Misha Serkinov.
Dude, I did not see that coming. Neither did Misha.
Yeah, that was the weirdest knockout punch I've ever seen, because it was a short punch, and it was just, I think it was the power was amped up because Misha's head was up against the cage, so he had nowhere to go. But it was clean and very surprising. And if he manages to beat Jimmy Manuwa, which I don't think he does, then he might have to surpass Gustafsson as the next title challenger. I just, that's the way I see it. I don't know, man. I mean, if he beats Manuwa now, how do you not give him the title shot over Gustafsson? Gustafsson he's had shots. You got to go with the new blood. And this is coming from a big Gustafsson fan.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else at 205 to have him fight. Besides,
just wait.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, now this is all just theoretical. I mean, if Daniel Cormier manages to beat John Jones, they're going to do a part 3. So at that point, you might if Ozdemir wins, you do Ozdemir and Gustafsson for the next shot.
Yeah. See, I don't like it when they do that, because then you're taking away a title challenger. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, who...
Yeah, but then you risk 2 challengers sitting there waiting, and whoever's second's going to be waiting longer. Or you put him in there, and then you risk him losing the contendership status. That's, neither of them are good.
Yeah, I guess all you do is, you give it to, let's say DC and Jones, whoever wins, comes out, unscathed. Then you could put Ozdemir in there, or if they're hurt or injured, you could do an interim, because the UFC is big on interim
belts. No more interim titles.
Ozdemir versus Gustafsson would be a good fight. I would pick Gustafsson in that one as of right now. I think Gustafsson's the more crisp, and clean striker. But yeah, that'd be a good fight, because I'm not seeing anybody else in the top 5. Obviously he's number 5, so it's like no one else above him.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, I don't think that's happening, because I don't think Cormier beats John Jones. So I think John Jones beats Cormier, and then we finally get the John Jones Alexander Gustafsson rematch that we've all been wanting and waiting for. I hope that's how it plays out. I just don't really care for Cormier too much. I mean, I like him. He seems like a nice guy. Just something about him rubs me the wrong way. And even though John Jones is a fuck up, and I just like that he's being more real. It's like, to me, Cormier is starting to sound as fake as John used to sound. Like he's trying too hard to be the good guy. So.
Yeah, and Jones is finally embracing the heel.
Yeah, exactly. He's finally embracing who he really is.
Yeah, so. Man, I beat you after a weekend of cocaine and weed. What do you think I'm going to do now?
Yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
I do think John Jones beats him.
Oh yeah, I think he stops him. I'm not sure yet, but I think he stops him.
It's very possible. I think I'm going to pick decision just to be on the safe side here.
Yeah,
in our UFC fantasy league. I do want to talk about the co-main event though, because I know a lot of people are picking Maia to win, but I think this is just a bad matchup stylistically for Damian Maia, and I think Woodley starches him.
You think he starches him?
I think he starches him within the first 2 rounds. I think Woodley knocks Maia out.
Well, I'm going to agree to disagree. I think that Woodley is going to do what he does and keep his back up against the cage and try to circle, and Maia's going to chase him down and use his good offensive wrestling. He's going to get Tyron down. Tyron's defensive wrestling is good, but it ain't great. I think he's going to take him down by the 2nd or 3rd round. He's going to submit him. That's what I'm thinking, man. Every one of Woodley's fights, he keeps his back to the cage and circles around. Back to the cage, keeps his distance, and tries to explode in. I think the old man Maia's gotten a little too crafty. I'm picking Maia. Woohoo!
Yeah, I mean, Maia is the tasty choice, as they would put it, I guess. But
yeah.
I think Woodley has the biggest advantage in terms of their games when it comes to the striking versus Maia's advantage on the ground. I think Woodley's striking advantage is bigger than Maia's advantage on the ground. Because when I say that on the ground, it's also including the fact that he has to take him down, and there's a chance he might be on the bottom, which is not good for when you have Tyron Woodley on top, whose top game is actually really underrated. People don't.
Oh, yeah.
They like to think that Maia's just going to grab any type of submission, but that's not going to happen. But what I see going down with this fight is I see Maia getting starched almost the same way that Nate Marquardt did it. He hasn't been pudged by anybody like Woodley at welterweight yet. He hasn't faced anybody with that type of power at welterweight. And
no, that's true.
I think Woodley. This isn't going to be like the Wonder Boy fight where he's going to be facing a world class striker. So yeah, he's going to be wanting to circle around. This is a world class grappler with okay striking, and I think Woodley starches him within 2 rounds.
Okay. Well, we know that Woodley's going to be circling with his back to the cage. Every single one of his fights, that's what he does. You know what I mean? So he has that distance and explosion. That works, but you're just wrong. As we can tell by our Pick'em League, I tend to know what I'm talking about more than you.
Who's in first place?
Yeah, I know. Not this guy.
I believe I've been winning this league for 3 years running.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't part of it in the beginning. It was very small, but it's grown. Justino, Miss Christiane Cyborg Justino, facing former Invicta champion Tanya Evinger. I'm assuming they stripped her of the title. At least I hope they did, because she has been deserved to be in the UFC forever now, and I hate that this is how she's getting in there.
Yeah, again, Cyborg's fighting another bantamweight. It's like, Tanya, you're great. You can probably make it to the 3rd round, maybe, but I'm sure as hell not going to pick it. The Cyborg's going to put her to sleep or TKO her in the 1st round. I don't see it getting out of a minute. And it's nothing against Tanya. She's great, but Cyborg's something else.
Yeah, she's a bantamweight, and one of the best bantamweights in the world in my mind. But
yep.
This is Cyborg. This is featherweight. It's basically, and it's for the title. It's for her title. That should have been hers a long time ago. By the way, you see that Jermaine Durandamy has a fight already booked?
Yeah, 35.
It's amazing how fast she healed.
I know. Once she realized she didn't have to fight Cyborg, she found her spine, put it right back in place.
Yeah, it's amazing. The hand just miraculously healed when Cyborg got booked. It's crazy.
I'm just disappointed in Cyborg getting another bantamweight. Okay, I understand it couldn't go down with Megan Anderson because she was already booked with Invicta to defend her belt. But there's other real featherweights that Cyborg could fight.
Well, I think the thing with Megan is she had some personal issues to take care of.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So,
but she still had that fight booked for Invicta, and it's still going down. That's obviously later, so it was not as soon as this fight. But I think that's in August, her fight in Invicta. I could be wrong, but that's beside the point.
I think you might be wrong. I don't think she has anything scheduled because I think she's still on the sideline. Personal issues.
She's okay.
What she cited. I'm sure there's something out there. I don't remember exactly what it is, but hey, I hope she gets her shot in the UFC soon. Best of luck to everything she's doing.
I can't wait.
Anderson a lot.
Yeah, I can't wait. She's totally marketable. She's a fantastic fighter. She's got everything to do really well in the UFC, man.
All right, well, let's preview the last fight on the main card for that. The almost guaranteed fight of the night. Ruthless Robbie Lawler and Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah, dude, that's a fight that we've been waiting for so long. Now that Cerrone moved up to welterweight against Lawler, how do you see this going? Because I'm kind of on the fence. I'm torn.
If Lawler has gotten, how's the word? Just if he's recuperated enough and well rested enough from the long break he took after the knockout, Lawler starches Cerrone. He knocks him out. His striking, I mean, I know Cerrone's got great striking, but Lawler's striking is better. And
It's technique versus power. I think technically Cerrone's a better.
you having mic issues again, buddy? Mike's still a little off. We'll get this eventually, don't worry. You know, it is only the third episode. We are amateurs. Still screwed up. It's alright, the mic's muted on your end right now so people don't have to hear all of this, but they are hearing me, so...
Is this better?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little more, it's a little louder, but I mean, you're not all staticky, so you sounded way better.
All right, I'm changing my input device. All right, so we'll go from here.
Yeah, as long as it works for right now, as long as people can hear you, but back to Lawler Cerrone, you were saying?
Yeah, I just think that Cerrone it's better technically, but not by a lot. I think he puts together more combinations with punches and kicks and things like that. You know, more of a Muay Thai style fighter, which he is. So, but I think he doesn't have the power that Lawler has, and Lawler's just a little bit under him technically. So yeah, that's why I'm leaning Lawler, but it depends, man. Lawler did the right thing. He's taken a lot of time off from his knockout loss, so he's had time to recuperate, get his head right. So yeah, why not, man? Why not Lawler winning by knockout third round?
Yeah, it's second or third round. That's exactly how I see it going down. I wouldn't be surprised if it went to decision. Cerrone is usually pretty durable, aside from the Jorge Rivera fight. And Masvidal, dude, I need to wake up. Coffee's not doing anything. Yeah, sorry, the Masvidal fight. But I think that might have been a circumstance of Masvidal just being better than everybody thought.
That, and you know, what was it? Like a month and a half later from that war he was in with Mike Brown, his head probably wasn't on completely, you know?
Yeah, he probably should have taken a break, just like Lawler took a break. It's the smartest thing to do.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to make excuses. Masvidal won and probably would have won regardless. I'm not saying that Masvidal got a lucky win because he fought too soon. Not at all. But I'm just thinking that might have played a part into it ending as quick as it did. I still think Masvidal would have won, or even the way he looked that night, or even TKO'd him in the third round. But yeah, no. But yeah, good fight, man. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see where Cerrone goes from here. It's a big test for him to see if he needs to stay up in that top five or not in the welterweight division.
Yeah, and it's a great fight for Lawler to come back to, because it's going to be exciting. And if he does finish Cerrone like I think he does, then he's right back in the mix for another title shot. Hopefully to get that fight back from Woodley after Woodley beats Damian Maia.
After Maia submits Woodley, then it'll be a good fight for Lawler and Maia. But that's just how I'm picking them, so we know how that's going to go down.
Yeah. Hey, when Joe picks, you do the opposite. That's what I've learned in the Pick'em League.
I know I know about fighting and fighters and all that fun stuff, but when it comes to my picks, dude, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, well. Overthinking, it happens.
Yeah, I'll chop up to that. Another fight on this card I'm looking forward to, though, is I am looking forward to Brian Ortega. I think that's going to be a good grappling match. T-City's going to get somebody choked out.
I'm not sure if he does it against Moicano, though. I'm not sure. Moicano, I think Moicano's ground game is better. I really do. I like Brian Ortega a lot, but Moicano, I think, also has the better resume. Just the simple fact that he did beat Jeremy Stevens compared to who Ortega's best win is a come from behind knockout of Clay Guida over a year ago. He was losing that fight to Guida until he knocked him out in the third round with a knee. So
yeah, which is true, but he had to take some time off for injury, so that's difficult. But I don't know, man. Somebody has got to go, and right now I'm thinking Ortega's going to win. I think he's going to be able to trick him on the ground because he's that good, man. I don't know. I think Ortega's ground game is better. I think his straight jiu-jitsu is better.
I'm going to disagree, but we will find out on Saturday. I'm excited for this entire card from top to bottom,
yeah.
Fight Pass and everything.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Right here in my backyard, and we waited too long to buy tickets, so now we have to pay for it on TV.
Yeah, that kind of upset me, the fact that the tickets for the most part sold out within the first weekend for this show in Anaheim. It's literally just an hour drive for me. So
yeah, I can see the pond from my office at work. I can look out the front door and I can see the pond right there. So that means I'm going to be missing some work as I drive over there for all the fighter interaction stuff going on.
Well, I mean, considering we're doing the podcast now, it's probably best that we didn't go to the Fight Live, because then we'd have to rush home from Anaheim after spending an hour trying to get out of the parking lot, and that way we can record. So at least now we could probably record right afterwards, and if not, if somebody gets a little too toasty during the fight or afterwards, I'm not saying any names. It's very possible, though, it could be somebody that rhymes with Robert. But
yeah, it might be, because history has shown that this Robert character tends to consume alcoholic beverages on a Saturday night regular.
Especially during the fights. Oof.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed drinking some beer during the fight, but, I had family functions to do today. Like I say, take the kids to the swimming pool.
Yeah,
good times.
The only thing I've done is taken the Browns to the Super Bowl, so...
Drop the kids off at the pool.
Yeah, it's been an interesting day, that's for sure. I'm not drinking again
until Saturday.
Until Saturday at about 3 o'clock when the Fight Pass prelims start.
That's right.
Well, shit, I think we're going to be cleared of this podcast within an hour, man.
Yeah, I think we have to wrap it up because the next show is going to be recording soon.
Yeah, we got another show recording soon for the W2M network, so we're going to wrap this up. Let's get some social media stuff put out there, Joe.
All right, everyone, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JoeHud45. I'm working on my Instagram there. My Twitter is still pretty active. We've also opened up, Robert might want to talk about our MMA to the Max Instagram and Facebook fan page.
Yeah, our podcast has its own Facebook page now. That's going to be... How the hell do you do a Facebook page? Like the web address, man. I should have been more prepared for this.
Just search MMA to the Max, and we should be your first pop-up there. I think.
Yeah, just search up MMA to the Max. It's up there on Facebook. You'll find us. I believe the slash link is MMA to the Max podcast after you do the Facebook.com. I could be wrong, though, at this point. I'm ready to go back to bed. Follow me on Instagram at FlashRockRobster. Follow me on Twitter at XRockXRobsterX. I wish I could change that. Unfortunately, they don't allow you to do that. But and also, go ahead and follow MMA to the Max podcast on Twitter at MMA to the Max Show. We just got it started, so we'll be able to try to get it going here pretty soon. Hopefully, we get some followers. It's still new, so need to get some traction. And
feel free to leave comments on the website, on Facebook, Twitter. Good, bad, or indifferent. If you hate us, that's fine. If you like us, that's fine too. Appreciate all of it with your input and comments, and we're going to keep this thing going, whether you want us to or not. So you might as well jump on board.
If you think this show was a drag to get through, don't worry. I feel the same way. And it's not because I don't love doing it. I know that I'm sounding like shit tonight. So,
you know what? If you didn't mention it, I don't think anybody would have known, buddy. You always sound like shit. See, that was me
that
insulting
hurts.
you.
That hurts. That hurts. But no, I enjoy doing this podcast. I'm excited to do it. Can't wait to do episode 4 next week. But I think episode 3 should conclude right now, so that I can go eat some food and go to bed.
That's right. I got some food to eat.
Well, on that note, I'm Robert Taylor for Joe Hudson.
I'm Joe.
Saying, see you later.
Good night.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.